$1.7 trillion saved by a country of just 5 million people. But while Norway quietly built the world's greatest sovereign wealth fund, Venezuela's economy collapsed, Nigeria fell into recession in 2016, and every other oil nation spent everything it had and went broke. In December 1969, a drilling crew working in the North Sea struck the Ekofisk oil field, one of the largest petroleum deposits ever discovered in Europe, transforming Norway overnight. For a small fishing nation of under 4 million people at the time, this was both a historic windfall and an extraordinary test of national character. The world had already seen what oil wealth could do to a country, and the results were rarely good. Economists had long identified a pattern they called the resource curse, the phenomenon where oil wealth actually destroys economies rather than strengthening them. Venezuela, which held some of the world's largest proven oil reserves, saw its economy contract by over 50% between 2013 and 2019, driving millions of citizens into poverty. Nigeria, Africa's largest oil producer, fell into its deepest economic recession in 25 years in 2016, despite generating oil revenues for decades. In 1990, Norway's parliament passed the Government Petroleum Fund Act, a piece of legislation that would separate Norway from every other oil nation on earth. Every krone earned from oil and gas was required by law to flow into a separate fund, completely isolated from the national operating budget. Politicians could debate how to spend regular tax revenue, but oil money was constitutionally untouchable. The mechanics were elegant in their simplicity: all oil revenues flow into the fund, and the fund invests them across global financial markets, deliberately diversifying far away from oil to eliminate concentration risk. As of 2024, the Government Pension Fund Global holds stakes in over 9,000 companies across more than 70 countries, owning approximately 1.5% of all listed stocks traded worldwide. Norway, through this fund, effectively owns a small piece of nearly every major corporation on the planet. In 2001, Norway introduced what it called the Fiscal Rule, a legally binding cap that limited annual government spending from the fund to 4% of its total value, roughly matching its expected annual real return, so the principle could never be eroded. In 2017, recognizing the fund had grown to a scale far beyond original projections, Parliament prudently lowered that spending cap to 3%. This single rule meant Norway was living purely off the interest of its savings year after year. The principle kept growing untouched. On September 19, 2017, Norway's Government Pension Fund Global officially crossed $1 trillion in value, the first sovereign wealth fund in history to reach that milestone. By 2024, it had grown to approximately $1.7 trillion, a figure equivalent to roughly $310,000 for every single Norwegian citizen. Each year, the fund's investment returns alone help finance Norway's schools, hospitals, and public infrastructure without the government needing to raise taxes or draw down the principal. Norway's story is a masterclass in choosing long-term national prosperity over short-term political gratification, a choice demanding institutional courage, independent oversight, and a citizenry willing to trust that the system would deliver. Alaska established its own permanent fund in 1976 following a similar model, and several Gulf states have launched comparable sovereign funds with varying degrees of commitment. But Norway remains the gold standard, living proof that natural resources, governed with discipline and foresight, can become a permanent engine of generational wealth.